The Taliban is taking control of more of Afghanistan and is closing in on the capital, Kabul. The president says he won't allow 20 years of gains to be lost in a civil war. But what can Ashraf Ghani do to stop the Taliban advance? This is Inside Story. Hello, welcome to the programme. I'm Kim Vinell. The future of Afghanistan is topping most international agendas this week, with many fearing a return to the Taliban rule of 20 years ago. The group is continuing to make strong advances across the country, taking control of major cities. It's also managed to release thousands of prisoners and looted military barracks, some of which were run until last month by the United States. As hundreds of thousands of Afghans flee their homes trying to find safety elsewhere, President Ashraf Ghani is determined that the Taliban will not win.
I am not going to allow this imposed war on our nation to lead to more bloodshed and to losing the gains of our last 2 decades and damages to our public goods and infrastructure because of this. I've carried out widespread comprehensive consultations with representatives of the people and leaders and with our international partners. Consultations are being carried out in a speedy manner.
And the United States, which is sending 3,000 troops to speed up the evacuation of its staff from the embassy in Kabul, says it continues to support a political settlement.
Going forward, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to make sure that a terrorist threat can't emanate from Afghanistan again by maintaining robust over-the-horizon counterterrorism capabilities in the region. And we're going to continue to support our Afghan partners bilaterally through maintenance support, through financial support, and we're going to continue to want to see a stable, secure Afghanistan. The other thing I would say is that we want to continue to see that there's a negotiated political settlement here for governance going forward.
We'll bring in our guests in just a moment, but first this report from Charlotte Ballas, who is in the capital.
President Ghani has addressed the nation in a pre-recorded address from the presidential palace. In this address, he said that he was looking out for his people, that he wished security forces well, that they needed to see improvement in coordination of the security forces, and he wanted any bloodshed to stop. The big question is, how does he stop the bloodshed? And in the speech, he said that there were consultations ongoing with local and international partners. We understand that some of those negotiations do involve his own future, whether or not he will be able to stay on as president for negotiations with the Taliban to continue and some type of political settlement to be reached. The Taliban certainly have him under a lot of pressure. They had a leader from Western Afghanistan, Ismail Khan, who was very anti-Taliban, but when Herat fell just a couple of days ago, he surrendered to the Taliban, and they have sent him to Kabul with a message to try to convince other government leaders to step away from Ghani and join some type of political settlement with them. Ghani is also under a lot of pressure as the Taliban keep taking more and more provincial capitals, and those provincial capitals get ever closer to Kabul. They now control much of the south, much of the north, and a province directly to the south of Kabul, and they are pressing on a province just to the west of Kabul also. A panic is growing in Kabul. There has been a run on the banks. Ticket prices for flights out of Kabul have skyrocketed, and a lot of people are becoming increasingly concerned as the Taliban come closer to Kabul. Charlotte Ballas for Inside Story.
Okay, let's bring in our guests. Joining us from Kabul, Shinkhai Karokhail, a member of Afghanistan's National Parliament and Chairwoman of the Parliamentary Women Caucus. In Istanbul, Haroun Rahimi, Assistant Professor of Law at the American University of Afghanistan. And from London, Sir Nick Kay, former UK Ambassador to Afghanistan. A very warm welcome to you all. I'd like to start with you, Haroun Rahimi. What's your sense of what's happening in the country, where all of this is heading?
It's not headed towards a good place. The people I talk to underground, they all express despair. All the young generation, the generation that was a product of the last 20 years of investment, doesn't feel like they have a place in Afghanistan anymore. And everyone is looking for a way to leave. Those who can do leave. These are not people who are used to Western values, or these are not people who want to live like Americans or Europeans. These are some of people who have lived through the Taliban war. And these are ordinary Afghans, some of them very conservative, very socially conservative. But they even concluded that there is really nothing to live for in Afghanistan anymore. That's the state of how people feeling. The political situation you just reported on, it's just the hope for some form of deal that will be reached to save Kabul, make sure that the Kabul is not going to come under attack, and some sort of power sharing agreement will be reached, and Taliban would not take over militarily, turning themselves into a pariah and making Afghanistan into an oppressive regime that we all remember from the 90s. That's the only hope people have. And not a lot of people are hopeful about that either, but that's the only option we have moving forward.
So, Nick Kay, do you agree with that assessment? What's your take on where this is headed? Will the Taliban bring the war to Kabul?
Thank you very much indeed. And yes, no, I agree very much with what Haroun was saying. These are very difficult and incredibly concerning times. My heart goes out to all Afghan friends and colleagues who are facing the dangers and the challenges that they are, and must absolutely condemn as an international community the actions of the Taliban up till now. Some reports of the war crimes potentially that they're committing horrendous. So at this stage, the really important thing is to take a pause. The Taliban are heading at the moment full speed, it seems, to try a military assault upon Kabul. And that would be a disaster. It would be a disaster for Kabul, it would be a disaster for wider Afghanistan, and it would be a disaster for the Taliban as well. So I think they need to apply the brakes, wait, discuss, negotiate, and find what all parties have been looking for some time now, really, is a political settlement that is an inclusive political dispensation, not just the Taliban, but a broad Afghan interim administration is what is being talked about now.
Shinkhai, Karokhail, I'd like to bring you in. Do you think the Taliban will do that? Will it take a pause before it heads to Kabul? Because it has made rapid gains. It clearly has the upper hand militarily, at least outside of the capital.
Well, it's very difficult to predict what will happen tomorrow even, because even Taliban, most of India, they didn't fight to occupy those provinces. But I think unfortunately, whatever was the reason behind that, the army and the police and intelligence didn't defend or just surrender to Taliban. You know, at least it's not like a victory through proper classic war inside Afghanistan. I'm not sure what will happen, but because Taliban, hopefully they think that they should not a military attack Kabul because the way the other places, because of the low morale, low maintenance or support, whatever it was, they surrender those areas to Taliban. If it happened in Kabul, I think nobody will control the insurgency or the war inside Kabul as well. And I think that will cost everyone a lot. Because today we had a very bad experience in Kunal province while the people start to attack, some of the people attacked, they looted them, the market or this kind of thing. If they happen and they try to throw a stone towards the army, and I think this is the worst experience. I hope it didn't happen inside Kabul, because Taliban should understand this. It's not only Taliban they fight against the government, but they're a multi-terrorist group. They are also a part of this insurgency throughout the country. So many people are involved in this conflict, organized crime group, mafias, warlords. You know, there's different groups have a different interests. I think there's lots of interference from the regional countries. If they attack in Kabul, I think nobody will I don't think they will really manage or control the disaster inside Kabul. Hopefully the Taliban understand and stop going towards military victory. This will be better to go for a proper solution through a peace talk and peace process. If they really want to really save this country, to save the infrastructure in this country, to save the private and public properties, and also to reduce the tense and the pressure or the stress which people are going through.
Okay. I'd like to come back to you, Haroun Rahimi. What do you make of what Ashraf Ghani had to say today? Some were expecting him to resign. Obviously, that didn't happen. What was your takeaway from what he had to say?
He basically had nothing to say. You have to remember that over the past 48 hours, a lot of territories has been lost. Two major cities of Afghanistan fell, and he did not say anything. It was a complete media blackout from the ARC and the presidential palace and people around him. After 2 days, he emerged and basically said nothing. The things he said really don't mean anything for the people on the ground. In my assessment, in my view, it's not about President Ghani anymore. I don't think he is the person to negotiate on behalf of the anti-Taliban camp. He's widely unpopular in Afghanistan. In my hometown, Herat, most people blame him for the fall of Herat. People believe he was the reason that Herat fell, that the government forces did not fight. They believe he instructed them. I'm not saying it's true or not, but I'm saying that's the psychology underground. You cannot have a person like that credibly negotiate on behalf of anti-Taliban camp. So it is vital for us to be able to preserve some sort of a compromise, some sort of a mix of the Taliban views and the views of their opponents, that it will be a credible person negotiating on behalf of the anti-Taliban camp. President Ghani is not that person. And I think the time is not on the President Ghani or the government side. The Taliban, the government leverage is shrinking. As you reported, there are heavy fighting happening in Mazar. If Mazar falls, if the encircling of Kabul gets to the point that, as was said, the Kabul becomes a battleground of different factions fighting, not even Taliban. There are many bad actors that can actually start fighting in Kabul. If that becomes the case, the government loses all leverage. I mean, the anti-Taliban camp loses all leverage to make any deal.
Okay.
And I think the President Ghani, the sooner he resigns, and the more orderly that transition happens to a transitional authority, the better the outcome for the Afghans.
So, Nick Kay, do you agree with that assessment? Does Ashraf Ghani have the legitimacy, have the support of the people to be able to negotiate on behalf of the government?
I agree that there is an absolute need for a fully inclusive Afghan republic negotiation team that has been established, led by Dr. Abdullah Abdullah, the High Peace and Reconciliation Commission. And there is no doubt that in Afghanistan, no one group can ever successfully rule and speak for the whole nation. It is a nation that is so diverse, and its strength and its beauty is its diversity and plurality. And that absolutely needs to be respected and represented in whatever team and whatever negotiation takes place.
Okay.
But let me just also pause a little bit. I'm old enough to have been in Kabul in 1996 when the Taliban arrived, and met them 3-4 days after their arrival in Kabul. Now, that happened very quickly in the end as well. And I think it would be a mistake for the Taliban to repeat the same experience now. They're running now, they've got the wind behind them, they're rushing headlong downhill, feeling very excited and feeling very victorious. But they are about to crash into a wall if they carry on like this. What is that wall? The wall they'll crash into is a divided nation, and it is divided. It will also be an isolated nation if they take Kabul by force. And it's a nation facing incredible humanitarian challenges. Already there are 5.5 million people food insecure before the offensive started. Now that number is even higher, and the number of IDPs and refugees, etc. So they're hurtling into potentially becoming responsible for a country that is in dire straits. They need to pause, they need to put on the brakes, and this needs to be properly managed for the benefit and interest of all Afghans, and I would say the regional countries as well.
Whether the Taliban listens to that kind of advice, I guess you could put it, is another thing. Shinkhai, Karokhail, we're talking there about the last time that Afghanistan was under Taliban rule. What do you think a future Afghanistan under Taliban rule would look like? Has the Taliban learned any lessons of the past 20 years? Would it look the same?
Well, we were expecting, and many times women of Afghanistan challenge them and even ask them that if you really change, that you have to reopen the school under the control, under the area under your control. Unfortunately, even girls' schools were not open, and some of the women's activity were absolutely closed down. So this is the big concern of women, and many times we had this concern, and we would try to convince the government and the international community to support to have more women at the table of negotiation, and women's rights issues should be the center of the discussion with the Taliban. Taliban also tried to escape, and also, unfortunately, in Afghanistan, the women's rights issue is not very much priority for the main politician of this country. So our concern is that why Taliban were not able to clearly announce their position regarding or their policy regarding women's political future or social or any activity which women has the right to do it. And they should make sure that women has equal rights, that there will be no restriction on them. And so this is why women of Afghanistan are really have a concern. Like Mr. Haroun said, that why people are start to flee the country because they are concerned about their daughter future, the education, their higher education, and their work. So that's why people think they are not changed. They are the same, and even some of the things which happen, especially some of the crime happened during this last 2-3 weeks. People have a huge concern. Even Taliban tried to deny, maybe some other group did it, but now, because the war started by the Taliban, everybody labeled them that you did it, or maybe you provide the ground for those who did this crime. So this is a huge concern for women of Afghanistan, and hopefully Taliban realize this concern and give a positive response to that. I think they have to change if they really want to have a political future in this country, because people of Afghanistan, were good or bad, people were expecting that the future government should be also through the proper election. People have the right to vote and have the right to choose. So this is the concern.
Can I just interrupt you there? Can I just interrupt you there to ask you, I mean, you're a member of Afghanistan's National Parliament, chairwoman of the Parliamentary Women Caucus. Are you worried at all about your own safety?
Well, definitely that, because, women have a more liberal stand, a priority are women's equal rights, equality, equity, and a woman wants to be considered as an equal citizen of this country. Those advantage which we had in our constitution, they want to preserve that. They want to have a very active life which we had so far. Girls should have access to the education, higher education. So the equal right with the men deserve it, So women, I think entire women politician or political activists and women rights activists, everybody's just concerned not about them, but also even about their family safety. Because nobody knows what will happen. Yeah. What will be the future policy and position of Taliban regarding this.
As you say, there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of unknowns. Haroun Rahimi, UN Chief Antonio Guterres says seizing power through military force is a losing proposition for the Taliban, and that will lead to the complete isolation of Afghanistan. Do you think that is true? And do you think that that will factor into the Taliban's calculations here?
I mean, I believe Taliban want different things, and some of the things they want are contradictory. They want to reimpose their old version of their emirate, which would result in severe restrictions of women's rights, which would mean loss of the most of the gains of the past 20 years, the life people have come to expect, feel like they deserve and want. That's what they want. They also want international recognition because I think they have the experience of their last government, at least their elders do. If the fighters on the ground don't remember it because many of them are young. That they realized it was impossible to govern and be a functioning state without international recognition. I think that they want contradictory things. How this contradiction is going to be resolved, what trade-offs they are willing or will be able to make, that remains to be seen. But I would like to actually pick up what Mr. Ambassador said. A lot has been said about international legitimacy and recognition, but I think we don't pay enough attention to domestic legitimacy. If Taliban are not recognized by most peoples of Afghanistan as a part of a legitimate government, they cannot be their legitimate government because they don't represent the entire country. If they will not be recognized as a part of a legitimate government that is come to power through negotiation, through a mechanism that includes everyone, and they choose to take power by force, they will face definitely a divided nation, a nation that does not see them as legitimate, and that means they will I believe they can through brute force maybe impose their power, but they won't be able to get the education started. They will not be able to stimulate an economy and do many things that would help Afghans actually live a good life, and for them to actually grow, actually be a part of governing of Afghanistan, if not the entirety of it.
Okay.
Because you can by force maybe punish people, maintain order, but you cannot stimulate an economy, you cannot help education grow, you cannot really help the culture grow. All the things that a healthy society needs will require a government that is seen as legitimate by all.
Moving on to the next stage of governance we're talking about. Sir Nick, I'd like to bring you back in. Ashraf Ghani has, in part at least, blamed the Americans for what we're seeing here, the US troop withdrawal. Should the US accept some blame here? This eventuality must have been foreseen.
Yeah, before just that, let me just touch on also the Taliban, if they've changed or not changed. Personally, I see very little indication they have changed very much. But what has changed is the world. And the world today is very, very different from the world even of the late 1990s. And one of the biggest differences is accountability. Accountability for crimes against humanity, for war crimes, accountability also for international crimes, such as drug trafficking, etc. There are far more mechanisms in place and far more ways in which people will be held accountable in a way they weren't in the 90s. And the Taliban really do need to factor that into their equation and their thinking as well. But absolutely, I agree with Haroun that it's a divided nation. They will inherit if they carry on this track, and that has no legitimacy. The people of Afghanistan need to see themselves reflected in their government. It should be a mirror, and the Taliban is not that mirror. But anyway, the US, yes, it is a mistake from my point of view. Personal view is it was a mistake to withdraw comprehensively militarily. A mistake for two reasons. First, because the training, advice and assistance mission that was being undertaken hadn't been completed. The armed forces was still a work in progress and they still needed that assistance. Secondly, it was a mistake politically as well, because it removed immediately the incentive for the Taliban to negotiate in good faith and properly. I advocated for a long time there should be no comprehensive military withdrawal without a comprehensive peace agreement. Unfortunately, that has not come to pass.
That was part of the Doha talks, the Doha agreement, though, wasn't it? It was part of the US withdrawal, was that there would be intra-Afghan talks, which obviously have not come to fruition or not to a settlement anyway. We're heading towards the end of the programme. I'd like to come back to you, Shinkhai Karokhail, just to sort of sum up all of this. How hopeful are you for the future of your country? How do you foresee all of this playing out?
Well, let me, before I come to conclusion, one word I want to share, that this nation is not divided and won't be divided, because Taliban does not belong to one ethnic group, I think, who are fighting in the north or in the east or in the west. But I think in the bad days, Afghans know how to come together and how to get united, that's for sure. Many countries try to divide this country, but I think they will not succeed. I think in bad days, in rainy days, we will be a united nation to work towards stability of Afghanistan and to preserve what we achieved so far. I think definitely we will have lots of political and security turbulences in the coming days and future, but I think Afghan people will also realize, besides the international community will realize, and will see the implication of not supporting and leaving Afghanistan at different stage, which the peace talk is started by Khalilzad and will be ended by them as well. I think Afghans will learn how to protect this country once more, and hopefully Taliban understand and realize how to govern the future of Afghanistan, how to make this country back united and work towards develop girls' education, and we have to realize the enemy, the permanent enemies of Afghanistan, and cut their hands from continuing a proxy war in this country.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for time. Thank you very much to all of our guests, Shinkhai, Karokhail, Haroun, Rahimi and Sir Nick Kay. And thank you too for watching. You can see the programme again anytime by visiting our website, aljazeera.com. And for further discussion, go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/AJ Inside Story. You can also join the conversation on Twitter. Our handle is @AJ Inside Story. From me, Kim Vinell, and the whole team here in Doha. Bye-bye for now.
Nitri-Lean reviews, negative side effects or legit benefits. Nitri-Lean is a new health product meant to help its users reduce their belly fat and have healthier hearts. The formula is slated as an all-natural solution that includes 8 potent nutrients that can naturally raise nitric oxide levels to improve metabolism, blood flow, with no diet, exercise, or lifestyle changes necessary. When blood, nutrients, and oxygen reach entire areas of the body can function at its best, which makes nitric oxide levels important for heart health and weight loss. Studies conducted on nitric oxide levels show these levels become lower by 20% every 10 years. For some, by the age of 65, they lose 85% of their ability to produce nitric oxide naturally. This critical health issue begins around the age of 30, when nitric oxide levels begin to decline. By 2030, the number of adults age 65 and older will have doubled to 70 million, making exercise, breathing, and circulation to the lower extremities slow and very difficult. Nitri-Lean supports healthy nitric oxide levels, improves blood flow, and boosts metabolism, faster weight loss, and a healthy heart. The 8 ingredients are included in amounts needed to support essential fat-burning hormones, naturally produced nitric oxide, improved blood flow, heart health, all while reducing belly fat in both men and women. To give your entire body a boost, Nitri-Lean provides many health-related benefits with no exercise or changes in lifestyle or starvation diets. More energy and vitality. Reduced belly fat. Cognition improvements. Improved circulation throughout the body. Healthy heart. Increase the natural production of nitric oxide. Nitri-Lean's 8 ingredients. The Nitri-Lean ingredients are a combination of all natural ingredients that works to significantly support the natural production of nitric oxide and key fat-burning hormones, support heart health with improved blood flow and fat loss. The proprietary blended formula used in Nitri-Lean. Cayenne pepper. 50 mg cayenne pepper is a fat-burning powerhouse for the metabolism while ending food cravings. Hawthorn. 100 mg. Hawthorn extract is proven to support a healthy heart. L-citrulline. 220 mg, known as a potent amino acid that's proven to support raising nitric oxide levels. People also read best weight loss pills. Bioperin. 5 mg using a patented extract from black pepper can significantly improve the bioavailability of all other nutrients for better absorption effectiveness. Beetroot. 100 mg of pure-grade beetroot that's proven to support healthy nitric oxide levels, sexual performance, blood sugar levels, blood pressure, and circulation. Green tea extract. 500 mg of organic green tea extract offers a powerful metabolism booster, an antioxidant that's all natural and proven to revive the metabolism by helping the body burn stored fat for energy. Garcinia cambogia. 100 mg Garcinia cambogia is a fruit extract that can inhibit enzymes involved in fat production while increasing metabolism and energy, improving cholesterol levels, supporting insulin response for healthy blood sugar. Grapeseed extract. 50 mg of grapeseed and grapeseed skin extract. Rich in polyphenols, these natural fruit extracts support improved blood flow and heart health. The makers of Nitri-Lean recommend consumers take 1 Nitri-Lean capsule a day to support their nitric oxide levels and reset metabolism to achieve weight loss and keep the weight off while maintaining heart health. Every capsule of Nitri-LEAN is made in the US and is FDA and GMP approved. Consumers worried about what the added belly fat is doing to their quality of life, or the potential of heart-related health issues can take Nitri-Lean and improve their health by losing belly fat without extreme diets, exercises, or counting calories. As a result, users of Nitri-LEAN will enjoy more energy, vitality, and have a healthy heart. Purchase Nitri-LEAN. Consumers who are ready to lose weight and improve the health of their heart can order Nitri-LEAN from the official website. The company offers 30, 90, and 180-day supplies of Nitri-LEAN. The cost goes down with the 3 and 6 bottled packages. The prices offered are: 1 bottle Nitri-LEAN $59 each / free shipping. 3 bottles Nitri-LEAN $49 each / free shipping. 6 bottles Nitri-LEAN $44 each / free shipping. The company offers customers a 60-day money-back guarantee. All 3 package offers include free shipping. To contact the company behind Nitri-LEAN can do so by product support@nitrilean.com. Summary: Nitri-LEAN is an all-natural health booster for men and women for reviving a slow metabolism and naturally allows the body to produce more nitric oxide to improve circulation throughout the entire body. The loss of belly fat and improved circulation will have Nitri-LEAN's customers have more energy and improved heart health. To learn more about the company and Nitri-LEAN, visit the official website. Please click the link below for more details. Thank you for watching my video. Can subscribe to the bell channel, click like to receive the latest video.